Hi, I'm Brent Turner. I'm here with artist Kent Twitchell in his studio. The Venda Museum here in Los Angeles is going to be doing a project in November of 2009. They're going to actually reconstruct the Berlin Wall on the 20th anniversary of its being torn down, and they've invited you to be a part of that project. They'd like you to actually paint on the wall. I'd like to know your thoughts, what it is that you'd like to do, what experiences in life led you to this project, and why you're interested.
Yeah, at first I wasn't really sure that I had a particular affinity, and then the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I do have, if I were enabled to paint the content that I really have in mind, which was for instance, when I was in the Air Force in London in early 60s, and the Berlin Wall began to be put up in 61. My commander-in-chief was President Kennedy, and President Kennedy, of course, gave the famous "I'm a Berliner" speech a couple of years after the Berlin Wall was first erected. Actually, it wasn't a wall yet; it was sort of a fence and with barbed wire and so forth. And gave the famous "I'm a Berliner" speech while I was in the military. And then 2 years before it was taken down, 18 years, I guess, later, President Reagan, who was the commander-in-chief, went to Berlin at the Brandenburg Gate, and quite controversially at the time actually said, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. And 2 years later, it was torn down. And I thought, when I was approached with the project, there was the stipulation that we deal with the Berlin Wall, with the erection, the reenactment of a segment of the Berlin Wall in front of the LA County Museum of Art on Wilshire Boulevard, in a personal way, the walls in our lives and how it represents, those kinds of things. And I thought, well, gee, it represents to me, having been in the military during that time, during the Cold War. I had a top secret clearance at the time, and I kind of was involved with a lot of things in Europe because I was an artist and had to sort of know these things. I was just a kid, and I didn't know what to do with the information, you know, but I took it very seriously. And I thought, yeah, I kind of am the right person to be doing something, but I thought I would take the walls of politics that seemed to be getting, you know, stronger and stronger, and that's the theme I would deal with. And I would paint my commander-in-chief, JFK, and above him in some way, I am a Berliner, and then paint President Reagan, tear down this wall. And those would be, and they would be painted side by side, as almost like they were brothers. And I really see more of a connection between Kennedy and Reagan than a lot of people probably do. I think they're both great commanders-in-chief, and I think they would probably have a lot in common if they were to come back today. I think they probably have a really, I think they like each other. And so I'm going to paint these two, left and right, supposedly Republican and Democrat, with no walls between them, on the wall.